Her US-based social enterprise is dedicated to empowering women shea farmers in West Africa. Meet Rahama Wright.
Hi, my name is Rahama Wright. I am Ghanaian American. I'm the founder and CEO of Shea, and this is my VIP story.
Rahama Wright, thank you so much for being on the VIP show. You are the founder and CEO of Shea, a wonderful company that promotes shea butter. And behind this product, there is a story. And your story started somewhere when you were with the Peace Corps. Tell us more about that.
I grew up in upstate New York, outside of Syracuse, and that's where my dad's family is from, but my mom's family is from northern Ghana. So growing up as a child, I was really interested in African issues. I was really interested in the continent, and I knew I wanted to work in Africa, but I didn't know where and I didn't know how. So after college, I joined the Peace Corps, and I served in Mali at a community health center. And I should add, I had no health.
No health background.
No health background, straight out of college, in my early 20s. And mostly what I would do is I would help the nurse with things like signing people in. Mothers would come with their babies for vaccinations and things of that nature. So really, I was a facilitator more than anything else.
Okay.
And I realized frequently women would come to the health center and leave unable to buy medicine. Mm-hmm. And that really struck me. And I started thinking about how do women in my community make money. I became very curious about that and started researching income generating activities. I never actually knew that shea butter, which was one of the things that I learned as I was researching, came from Africa. I never knew that women in Africa are the traditional harvesters of shea. And as I started seeing how women in my village made shea butter, I started wondering, well, why are they struggling with poverty? Mm-hmm. Why is it hard for them to pay their fees for the medicine? And
yeah.
And
for the children to go to school.
Yeah. And I was like, this product in the US, I could buy it for so much money. Mm-hmm. But these women, they're making pennies from what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And so, what I decided to do is help women take these seeds, turn it into shea butter, and then connect that to the US market through a product line.
Where did it all start?
Yeah, so initially it started with the community I was volunteering in.
Okay.
When I moved back to the US in 2005 is when I officially launched Shea. And initially it was a 501c3 nonprofit. So I was, because of my experience in the community in the village, I was really looking at it from capacity building, mm-hmm. training, working with women, helping them improve quality, helping them, process the shea butter into something of value, because a lot of people don't know this. Mm-hmm. Even though the shea tree grows exclusively in sub-Saharan Africa and the Sahel region, the majority of shea butter that enters the global marketplace is coming from Europe and Asia.
That's interesting,
so
isn't it?
So the seeds are sold in
okay.
large quantities, exported out of Africa, and then sent to these large commercial facilities. They then chemically process shea butter, and then global distribution happens. So the work that women do to actually make shea butter is a very small percentage of what comes into the global marketplace. The problem is many of Africans' natural resources are managed in this way, where
yes.
local cocoa, coffee, gum arabic, yes. diamonds, oil, and anything you can think of. Yes. Similar. Yeah. Value addition doesn't happen on the continent. It happens external to the continent. And value addition is what helps you generate more income.
Yes.
Because when you add value, when you process, when you mm-hmm. create something of value, you can get more money for it in the marketplace.
So you decided to take a leap of faith and really get into this and try to make a change.
Yeah.
So why did you change your approach in terms of going from a nonprofit to a business?
It was so close to my experience working in the community. I was like, it has to be a nonprofit, because again, imagine I'm in my early 20s.
Yes, the mindset. I want to help and save the world.
Exactly. And so for me, I wanted to bring more visibility to the issue. And this was back before anyone was talking about women in shea butter. Yes. Now it's become very popular. Now it's become almost commercialized in a sense. And so I really was focused on a nonprofit model because I felt that that was the best way to get people more sensitized around the social economic justice issue around women in the supply chain.
Okay.
And it wasn't until 2012 that I did a pivot, and I pivoted to a profit model, and I consider the Shailene model a social enterprise. We still have the nonprofit, and we now have a profit model that develops all of our shea butter products and then sells it in the US market in channels like Whole Foods, hotels, boutiques, and spas.
You mentioned that you are a social enterprise. Talk
Yes.
to us about that. What does this mean for people who don't understand?
The idea behind a social enterprise is that you can use a business solution to address a social problem.
Okay.
And so I'm utilizing a market solution of creating high quality products, connecting those products to customers as a way to address women's ability to send their kids to school, buy food, buy medicine, and help them generate living wages. So that's the social component of my business.
What kind of impact have you seen in the lives of the women?
When you are able to give women living wage jobs, jobs that allow them to live at a higher standard, jobs that allow them to be able to be financially independent, that's when you see real sustainable transformation. And that's the impact that Shailene is doing. So what do the women in our cooperatives do? Because of their labor and their work of making the shea butter, we give them 5 times their country's minimum wage in northern Ghana, it's about $2 a day. If I asked you, would you rather have a living wage or a bar of soap, what would your answer be?
Living wage, so I can take care of myself and buy my own.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. And so
absolutely.
we don't want to continue with aid. And we don't want to continue with models that don't allow people to have sufficient income. And our goal is to help women become financially independent. And a lot of times people are like, oh, well, if you're giving women financial independence, that'll create issues with the men. The husbands of the women that we work with, they actually appreciate the fact that their wives are making some money because it alleviates financial pressure on them.
Yes.
When a woman has her own money, she doesn't have to go to her husband,
Yes.
and that actually reduces tension within the relationship.
So what was your journey like in terms of taking the product from the farm in Ghana to bringing it in the US in Whole Foods, which is such an important, a big store, a big chain?
It's been a journey that has been over a decade. And during that time, I have bootstrapped, I've worked odd jobs, I fundraised myself, meaning through working, I would use the money that I would make and invest it in my business idea. What I would say to people who think to themselves, oh, I don't have money, I don't have a good network, I don't have a lot of resources, you are your first resource. You are your resource. And the human resource, the intellectual capital that you have is going to be the single most important thing for you to start with. And then what happens is that as people start identifying you as an expert, that's when trust happens. And as people start seeing your work ethic, it'll be much easier for you to attract the resources that you need.
What would you do differently?
100%, and I say this with no hesitation, start with the financial model. Start with understanding, how will this business make money? Because I can't do my mission if my company is not financially viable and sustainable.
Yes.
And so I should have spent a lot more time figuring out, when will I hit break even? When will I become profitable? How much money will I need up front? And it wasn't really until I started seeking investors, and that was many years later, that I started answering those questions.
Wow.
I should have started that from the beginning.
Okay.
You can't really answer and develop your financial model if you don't know who your customer is. A lot of times people start their business and they think about what they want to do. I want to create shea butter products. Okay, well, who wants shea butter products?
Yes.
And so the 2 things I would advise people to start with is not the marketing, is not your website, it's not your logo, it's financial viability of your business and who is your customer.
So as an entrepreneur, what keeps you up at night?
I try not to worry about things because worrying never helps anyone. And you know, there are always external factors that affect your business that you don't have any control over, whether it's policymakers or competitors in the same space, and you know, environmental issues as well. And so I try not to worry about those type of things because I can't control it, but really taking the time to figure out, like, what am I doing that's working? What am I doing that's not working? How can I you know?
Yes. You added a component to your business, which is your store.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
So I've been leasing the space for a few years now in Washington, D.C., and I initially was running it as an office space. And certain things changed with the office in terms of needing it. You know, I downsized my team. I have all this space. I'm not using it on a regular basis. And so I started asking myself, what can I do differently? So this past holiday season, I thought to myself, why not open the space to women and minority-owned companies in the DC area who are creating products and who might be early stage, might be small, and needing an outlet to get their products out there. And I call it the pop-up collaborative because it's a collaboration. And we have jewelry makers, candle makers, we have some home decor, and the whole idea is helping to support other companies that look like me, who have similar struggles like me, to get them, you know, a platform and to get them a space so that they can get their products to customers.
Rahama, it was such a pleasure to talk to you. It's now time for the VIP game. So what you do, it's very easy. You just pick 2 out of 3, one at a time, and then you answer the question.
All
Okay?
right.
All right.
I'm going to start with this one.
Okay.
All right. The question is, if I could change one thing in the world, I would change the financial inequality that exists.
Between?
Well, when you look at the world, the majority of the world's population is struggling with poverty.
Yes.
I believe that there's so much that needs to be done to create financial equality in this world.
Yes.
And and even though I'm in a small sector in a small part of the world doing one thing, I think it is an example of how every single one of us, we have the ability in our own way to try to make that change.
That's fantastic. Okay. You have 3 more, you take 1 more.
Oh, my favorite use of social media is my favorite platform?
Platform or how you like to use it?
Okay. So I would say I really enjoy using Instagram, and I like to do the stories in Instagram.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
Why?
Because I can just hop on, pull out the phone, do like a little quick, hey guys, this is what I'm doing right now. It takes only a few seconds. It's easy to do. I'm technologically challenged, so the fact that I can do that is very impressive, and it's just easy for me. But it's a great way to get your ideas out there. It's a great way to bring people into your world. It's a great way to learn. It's a great way to teach. I think it's probably better to really spend time off of social media during the week and just decompress. But in terms of building your brand, building your business, you gotta do it.
Yes. Rahama, very nice to talk to you.
Thank you, Linord.
And thank you for being on the VIP show.
In VIP Moments, we bring you highlights of the 10th annual Wash Gala, an evening in New York by the organization Face Africa to raise funds for clean water.
I know all the hard work that they do to actually make this event happen, and tonight is the 10th year, obviously. It just looks amazing, but most importantly, this is a party with a purpose.
I think what Saran is doing, it could be a lightning rod for people to enact in other parts of the world. I mean, she had very humble beginnings, right? But she had a vision, and I think that's where it starts.
Well, I think this initiative is special because it's the diaspora coming together to raise awareness and to raise money to actually build infrastructure.
We've built WASH projects that have helped benefit 150,000 people in Liberia and Nigeria So it's super excited to see it all come together and know that we're going to have an amazing results going forward as well for the next decade.